It's very clear that the president's headed in the right direction. Strategy before resources. That was a discussion time after time in that meeting. The meeting was good, it was thorough, everyone participated, and the president was very resolute in making sure that everyone understood he was going to do this in a time frame that was necessary and a time frame that would give him the opportunity to be able to have discussions with everybody that had anything to offer. He ended the meeting by saying, if anybody has anything that didn't bring up here, call. I'll take the call personally. We all realize the important decision the president has to make. Of the 8 soldiers killed on Sunday, 1 was from Reno, Nevada, Private First Class Kevin Johnson. And every time that you think about a Kevin Johnson, you think about how important the president's decision is. The president understands this. I think that the meeting was very good. It was the longest meeting that I've had in a setting like this where absolutely everybody had a chance to participate.
Thank you, Mr. Leader. As you said, this was a very important meeting. Here we had the Commander-in-Chief, the President of the United States, calling in to meet with him the leadership of the House and the Senate, bicameral, bipartisan, chairs and ranking members of the committee that address our national security interest. The President made his statement, which was a very strong one, about how deliberative the process would be about making a decision, how respectful he was of the people in the room and welcomed their suggestions both today and on an ongoing basis, as Leader Reid mentioned. There are 4 areas that must be addressed as this decision goes forth. Some of them were addressed in the McChrystal report, some of them in the metrics put forth by the administration. Certainly the security issue, the governance issue, the reconstruction, or some say the construction because there was nothing there before in Afghanistan, and the diplomacy in the region. There's also the question of what the commitment is of our NATO allies. These and other subjects came up today with the diversity in the room. Needless to say, there was some agreement and there was some diversity of opinion as well. But I commend the President for having the meeting, for taking the time to listen to the wealth of knowledge, again, on both sides of the aisle, on both sides of the House, on the subject of our national security. Our first responsibility is to protect the American people. We all take this responsibility very seriously. The President has the ultimate responsibility to make a decision, and we all mourn the loss of those who make the supreme sacrifice, and my condolences to your constituent, Leader Reid, in that regard.
Can you give us a spectrum of the diversity of opinion expressed in the meeting?
Well, basically, we were grateful to the President for having the meeting. We understood that it was a very serious matter, of course. That goes without saying. The question that the leader put forth at the beginning, and General McChrystal said in his report, without a strategy, we shouldn't resource the mission. So the question is, how do we evaluate the tools at our disposal? Do we have an able partner in President Karzai? Is the government capable of acting in a way that is not fraught with corruption? Those kinds of issues. And so it wasn't a question of difference of opinion, it's a question of having a different evaluation of the strength of the different tools at our disposal as the President goes forward, and again, as Congress plays its rightful role in all of this.
Madam Speaker, the one thing that I think was interesting is that everyone, Democrats and Republicans, said, whatever decision you make, we'll support it, basically. So we'll see.
So that means if he wants 40,000 troops, that you would fund 40,000 troops?
Well, I think there was a general discussion there. I hope people aren't talking in the abstract, saying whatever whatever decision you make, we'll support. That came from the minority. Okay?
What strategy did he lay out that you can talk about from the meeting?
Well, he didn't lay out any strategy. He just said he wants to make sure that we have a strategy before we start committing resources.
Did you get a sense of when he might make a decision?
No, but he made it very clear he's not going to rush into this, but he's not going to be leisure about it at all.
It's a very deliberative process.
Senator Reid said that whatever, is that true in the House, that whatever decision the president makes, you will support it?
Well, I think that I think the point I was trying to make is there was a lot of talk there. Mr. President, you're the Commander-in-Chief. The reason I mentioned this is it was all coming from the Republicans. And I just, in the past, we've had a little trouble getting supplemental bills passed, even in the prior administration, when the money goes to the military. Be interesting to see if their actions follow their words.
Well, do you
Let me just say where there was agreement that it's a difficult decision for the president to make, that we all respected that he was looking into every aspect of this, and that we were, again, honored what he had to say. Whether we agreed with it or voted for it remains to be seen when we see what the president put forth. But I think there was a real display of universal respect for the manner in which he was approaching it. Thank you all very much.
Tens of thousands more troops, Speaker.
One question on health care.
He's willing to take it. Going back to you had him. You hesitated. Never hesitated.
Good try.
Let the Republicans. Well, he said it was the minority. You said
we appreciate very much the opportunity to come to the White House at the President's request and to talk with him about the situation in Afghanistan. I think all of us recognize that the President of the United States has a very difficult decision to make. And I think he was honest about wanting our input and our advice. And clearly, the goal that the President laid out back in March, that we should deny al-Qaeda and the Taliban a safe haven in Afghanistan, continues to be the goal. And if that is the goal, I believe that my colleagues on the House side will be there to support him. But we do recognize that he has a tough decision, and he wants ample time to make a good decision. Frankly, I support that. But we need to remember that every day that goes by, the troops that we do have there are in greater danger. And so I don't believe the President needs to make a decision in haste, but we need to get this right, and I'm hopeful that the President will make a strong decision that will allow us to win this effort that was started many years ago. Mitch?
Well, we appreciate the President inviting us down. He did a lot of listening, and our various members who were there had a chance to express themselves. It strikes me that he's already got in place the most outstanding members of the military he could possibly have in place to deal with this particular problem. His decision to select General McChrystal to send him out to Afghanistan, obviously working with General Petraeus. These two generals understood what needed to be done in Iraq, carried it out successfully, and now they're in the right place to deal with Afghanistan. I hope that at the end of the day, the President will follow the advice of some of our finest generals who we believe know what it would take to stabilize the situation in Afghanistan, prevent the comeback of the Taliban, and obviously prevent a haven for al-Qaeda. In the Senate, our leader on this issue has been Senator McCain. I asked him to join us today to give you his thoughts about the way forward in Afghanistan.
Thank you, Mitch. Well, I think we had a good meeting with the President, and obviously it is his decision to make as Commander-in-Chief. We also obviously have a role to play as members of Congress as well. I think we had a good dialogue, and a number of people expressed their views and opinions. It's pretty clear the time is not on our side, as the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff has said. We need to act with deliberate haste, and I believe an important aspect of this whole decision-making is that there are a number of options, but the option that's presented by our military commanders in the field, endorsed by the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, should be given, obviously, additional weight because they were correct of the strategy that in employing the strategy that succeeded in Iraq.